Hangout on Air is live. Should be live. Why isn't it live? Oh, there we go. Now it's starting. All right, cool. Should all be set up now. People should be rolling on in. How's it going, everyone? Oh, let me mute the background. All right, 1 second here, guys. I still need to think of a better setup for this whole live thing. I have a pretty junky looking setup. But man, it's hot in here. Is anyone else hot? Welcome, everyone, by the way. Welcome to this back to school live hangout. We're going to be talking all about getting ready for back to school. We're going to tackle lots of different things here. Hopefully, I can get through a lot of you guys' questions. First off, for anyone here that has never been to one of this live Q&A, let me run through a few of the things that you can expect here. One, what I'd like to do is I like to pause the chat and I go through the chat questions one by one. I feel like it's only fair because, you know, kind of first come, first serve type of basis here. Second thing is, along with that, if you have a question that is so pressing that you really need me to answer, you can always use the super chat function. The super chat function, if you're watching this on your phone, it should be on the bottom. It should be that little $sign. And from there, you can donate, and it'll push that question up to the top. That question will pop up, and any super chat questions I get, I kind of immediately answer because I feel like that's what to do. And third, if I don't get to answer your question, or if you can't stay for the whole stream and you want to know what my answers were, or you want to see some of the questions we tackled, after this video goes up, what I always end up doing is I always end up putting all the timestamps in the comments, essentially as the first comment. I pin that comment. And what that means is that I'll list out the time and all the questions, and you can jump around to the specific question you want to see my answer for. So if you can't stick around, or if you know, your question is maybe already answered and you want to see what my answer was to someone else's similar question, you can always do that. Those three are the key things I wanted to list. So what I'm going to do here is I see a bunch of people's questions are coming in. I'm going to start probably just from this point here. I know some people, I saw some of the comments coming in, but first off, I want to say it's really hot in here. So I'm going to be wiping my face a lot. Really hot, guys. But yeah, so how is everyone doing, by the way? Is everyone doing good? Are you guys excited for this? Are you excited for going back to school? I just want to share a quick tidbit here. So anytime I was finishing up summer break and I was going back into a new school year, it always felt scary to me. I always had that nervousness, you know, inside of me that was like, oh man, you know, what's it going to be like? Am I going to make friends? Is the schoolwork going to be hard? Am I going to finally get a girlfriend? These are all thoughts that ran through my mind. So don't beat yourself up if you're thinking the exact same thing. Hopefully we can tackle ways you can approach each of those things as we answer these questions. So I'm going to jump right in here to the first question. Nintendo asks, is 8th grade fun? So Nintendo, I think 8th grade is awesome. I think it's so much fun. And the reason why 8th grade is so much fun is simply because by 8th grade, you've already kind of mastered how to get to classes, you know, making friends. You've kind of mastered your element in that school. And by the time you're in 8th grade, you're now focusing on getting ready for high school. But that last year, it's like you can just relax a little bit. You can hang out more. Things seem a lot easier. I know that it doesn't make much sense, but when you're in your last year of school, it tends to be a little bit easier. It's usually the previous year. So 7th grade or junior year tend to be the very, very work intense years. And the senior year is always like you planning, okay, what am I going to do next? What's my next move here? So 8th grade is going to be lots of fun. Be sure to really enjoy your time with your friends, because you might some people take it for granted and they think, okay, well, you know, like I'm just not going to talk to my friends, not going to hang with them as much. But once you graduate from 8th grade, you go off to high school, you might not see your 8th grade friends anymore. So try to make the most of your time with them. Really enjoy that experience together. Lag. Yeah, I apologize if there's lag, guys. I hope there's not a lot of lag, and I hope it's not messing up a little bit. I missed, the chat jumped. So I'm going to just jump in again here. So Prince Patrick, good to see you again, man. I see you all the time in the chats. You're a freshman. Awesome, dude. Nobody, I don't care. Hey, Josh, what's up? It's laggy too much. Oh, man, why is it so laggy? Let me try closing as many things as possible. So I apologize if it's laggy, guys. I don't know why. I really got to find a better setup. Let's see. Spurley says, I started high school last week and geometry is terrible. I understand nothing. What should I do? Okay, so here's the thing, too. When you're starting essentially new school and you're jumping into new topics like geometry and things like that, it can be very challenging in the beginning. One thing I would highly recommend is this. If you, and you should try to tackle this from the beginning if you see that it's a problem. And what you should try to tackle is asking yourself, hey, am I going to need a tutor for this subject? There's nothing wrong with telling your parents, hey, I'm not really understanding this subject. Is it okay if we look for a private tutor? Or if I can look for something in school, maybe you can speak to your teacher and ask your teacher if your teacher can recommend. Maybe your school has tutoring. That might be a possibility. Another thing you can do if you're not really understanding geometry is try to talk to the other kids in your class and see if you guys can form a study group. I know it sounds cheesy, but trust me, having study groups, here's the thing. When people are learning things, everyone picks up different pieces, right? Like you have your way of learning, I have my way of learning, that person has their way of learning. And when we come together, we can all kind of share the pieces that we learn, and it makes it easier to learn because we're all focused on different things. So I can now learn what you've focused on, you've refined, and you can learn what I've refined. So having a study group or a tutor would be super helpful for you to kind of get into the groove of understanding geometry a little bit better. But I'm never out. It's not fans go well. How do you revise for exams? So Joan Thomas, what exactly do you mean revise for exams? Do you mean like prepare for them, or kind of like how to fix your exam when you kind of are going through it? Can you kind of specify the question a little bit? Rampage says, hey Josh, I'm finally a freshman. I need some help on how to talk to a girl that I've been knowing since kindergarten. How do I make the first move? That's a really good question. So you're a freshman now and you've known this girl forever, right? And it's like, okay, well, how do you kind of now start to move into things? Now maybe you feel a little bit more confident, you feel a little bit more, maybe more ready to date. And these are all things that start to happen probably once you start to enter high school. So how do you kind of start something with someone that you've known for the longest time? Is it going to be weird? Is it going to be hard to talk to them? Here's what I would do. I think you have to start letting that person know that you're starting to see them a little differently, right? If you're going to continue interacting with them as friends like you've always done, then yeah, it's going to be easy for them to say, okay, well, he's the friend and that's all he'll ever be. But if you start to interact with that girl and start to say, so let's say you see her for the first time again when you go back to school, or, you know, you kind of haven't really talked to her yet. You can always approach her and say something like, hey, there's something different about you. I don't know what it is, but I'm really intrigued. I don't know what it is, but it seems pretty cool. And that whole idea of letting her know that you see something different about her, you're looking at her in a different kind of way, will help her start to say, hey, maybe he doesn't just see me as a friend. And then from that point on, once you say that, you have to change your behavior. You have to start flirting with her, and joking with her, and teasing her, and showing her that, hey, you want to build something more with her along the way. So I'm curious though, guys, what grades are you guys in? I want you to leave it in the comments. Just say I'm in 7th, I'm in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, going to college, whatever it is. I want to get a feel for who's here. I want to get a feel for when you guys are, what grade you guys are going into now. Let's see. How would I approach my crush on the first day? Nobody I don't care wants to know. That's a good question. So that's a video that not really, I don't think I'll have time to tackle it, but because everyone's going to be starting pretty much soon. So if I can, I'll try. But in terms of approaching your crush on the very first day, I think here's the thing. A great conversation starter that you can always use in the beginning of any school year is, hey, what's up? How was your summer? Did you do anything fun? Ask them about their summer and then find out, okay, maybe they went camping. Maybe they went to Disneyland. Maybe they visited their grandparents. Maybe they sat around all summer playing video games. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is try to learn what they were doing. Try to ask them questions, learn a little bit more about them, and also share what you did over the summer too. That's a good way to just start that connection, especially if it's with a crush that you've never really spoken to before or don't really know that well. Hey, so how was your summer? Is this a very normal question to ask someone? You know, no one's going to look at that and say, well, why does this weirdo want to know how my summer was? Because it's a pretty common thing. Everyone did something over the summer. So I would say lead in with that. What's the hardest grade in middle school? I would probably say the hardest grade in middle school is probably 7th grade, because that's when work really starts to intensify a little bit more. Yeah, I would say 7th grade. I mean, you start to think in 7th grade about what potential high schools you want to go to. I know you think more about it in 8th grade, but 7th grade is where you start to think, okay, when I get to 8th grade, when I graduate, what is a good high school for me to go to? You know, so 7th grade, I would say probably is one of the hardest or more tougher years. So Night Robber, what grade are you in? I'm curious. Let's see. Saucy Scam says, I like my neighbor and I'm pretty sure she likes me back. She has 2 brothers and I'm friends with them. How can I use them to help me but keep their friendship? That's a good question, Saucy Scams. So it all comes down to whether or not you want the brothers to know that you like their sister or your neighbor, essentially, right? You want them to know whether or not you like their sister. And I think you should let them know. I think that will help you, right? Because if you keep it a secret and you keep interacting with them and they feel like you're going behind their back, or let's say eventually you do ask out their sister, they feel like, why didn't he just tell us all along? That's something that you might want to get out in the open. And plus, because they're her brothers, they may put in a good word for you. They may try to bring her around more. They may try to have you interact with her more. So they can be your wingmen. I think best thing you can do, Saucy Scams, is to talk to them. Ask them, say, hey, listen, I think your sister's pretty cute. Could you hook me up with her? Or could you invite me over so I can hang out with her? See if the brothers will help you do that by being honest with them. Let's see. We can't see you. Middle school was just easy in general. Yeah, for some people, middle school was really easy. So we can't see you. I don't know why you guys can't see me. You can't see me. Note here. Did anyone here watch SummerSlam? Anyone here a wrestling fan? Did you guys check out SummerSlam? That main event, though. Braun Strowman. Come on. Just had to throw that in. Let's see. Hydra Saint says, Josh, I want to ask my crush out. My friend did. I want to ask my crush out, but my friend did. I didn't want him to. Anyway, my crush said no. Okay. So your friend asked out your crush for you, and then your crush said no, right? This is a big reason why I don't think that you should have your friends, or you should tell your friends to ask out your crush for you, because your crush then is not saying no directly to you. They're indirectly saying no to you, right? They're saying no to your friend for you. And what that does is it takes away the ability and power for you to actively approach your crush and for you to actively talk to her and ask them out. Because here's the thing, interacting with someone face-to-face gives a whole different impression from someone saying, hey, my friend really likes you. They don't have the same weight. You have a much better chance of talking to your crush in person, trying to make them laugh, trying to joke with them, trying to have fun, than you would with your friend trying to just pass you over to them or, highlight you for them. Now, don't get me wrong. Wingman, a wingman essentially is like a friend who kind of helps you get closer to the person you like. But I don't think your friend should ever be the person who asks out your crush for you. There's nothing wrong with them talking you up and saying, oh, you should talk to my friend, but never ask out the crush for you. It should always be your job. Let's see. All right, Jamari Bell says, how do I become friends with a girl in a different class? That's a really good question, Jamari Bell. You have to ask yourself, how realistic is it for you to interact with her? Will you be able to see her? Will you be able to talk to her even though you guys are in different classes? If not, if the only time you'll see her is maybe either during lunch or potentially after school, then you have to ask yourself, okay, what kind of a relationship can I really have with her? Can I have a relationship that is a physical, real one? A real one where we hold hands, we kiss, all those things? Or does it make more sense to aim for just a friendship with her? Or maybe even an online relationship if you want to do that. Think about what the realistic possibility is for you to interact with her. If there isn't a chance for you to talk to her or interact with her face-to-face, then I would rethink going into a relationship or pursuing a relationship with her. Let's see. Okay, Goofball Enterprises says, what should I do if I like a girl that's lesbian? Should I stop liking her? So that's a good question. A few people have asked this before. They've said things like, okay, well, my crush is bisexual, or my crush is lesbian, or my crush is gay. What do I do? I think in those cases, the best thing is to respect their choice and respect that. So for example, here, if your crush likes other girls, then I would say let her be, right? Like, she's not interested in boys, she's interested in girls. So I wouldn't try to pursue her, try to change her mind. It's like, if she knows what she wants, then respect it. That's the most you can do. So should you stop liking her? It might be hard to stop liking her. That's not something you can kind of just like turn off, but you can choose whether or not you are going to pursue her. And I would say probably let her go and pursue someone else. Everyone keeps saying you can't see me. So do you guys, is it a problem with the lag? Is the video lagging? Nobody, I don't care, says we love you, Josh. Thank you, man. I love you guys too. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Let me know that you guys are excited about this stream. We're going to get through a bunch of questions. Last stream, we got through like 85 or 90 questions, something crazy like that. So I'm hoping to hit that number again. One day we'll hit the 100 mark. Just got to answer them quicker. Okay. Jat34 Cub says, hey, Josh, I'm starting my junior year of high school next week. The girl I like is having a sweet 16 this weekend. We're really good friends, but I don't know when to ask her out. What's your advice? Okay. So you're starting your junior year and the girl you like is having her sweet 16. So I'm assuming that either A, you're going to the sweet 16, or you know about it. So you want to like use that as a way to talk to her, interact with her, which I think is totally fine, right? So I think a good way to go about asking her out is to, as she's turning 16, just ask her what she's planning on doing for a sweet 16. Like, here's the thing too, when people are excited about things, it's okay for you to join in their excitement and be part of that moment with them. That often helps you become closer with them. So if someone's excited about their birthday, or they're excited about Christmas or New Year's or going to the movies, be excited with them. So when you talk to her, or if you do talk to her, join in her excitement. If she's happy about her sweet 16, join in that. Ask fun questions like, oh man, can you wait? Are you super excited to turn 16? What are you hoping to get for your birthday? What do you want to do as you get older? You're looking forward to 17. Just be in that moment and be in that excitement with her. And I think it'll help bring you guys closer together. Let's see. Captain A says, Cap A, what should I do when my crush is playing hard to get? So I did a video on this a while back called How to Play Hard to Get, where I talk about how to play hard to get rather than what to do with someone who is playing hard to get. But ideally, it's the same thing. I think when it comes to a person who's playing hard to get, what they're hoping to see from you is that you're going to stay committed to the idea of pursuing them, right? So if someone like pushes you away and they're like, oh no, I don't want to date you, and and they say it in a joking way, keep asking them out, keep talking to them. Now, if they're serious and you know that they're serious, then back off. Don't be a jerk, like don't push something when you know that they don't really want to do it. But just you have to be persistent in some way here, and persistence will help you. Is mine red? Looks red. You have to be persistent in the way where you're open to talking to them and interacting with them and starting conversations, and continuing to do that will show them that, hey, he really does like me. He really does want to talk to me. He really does, want to ask me out. And then once you do that enough times, you can always then ask them out. And plus, keep in mind too, if you ask someone out and they say no to something, let's say you say, hey, I want to go to the movies this weekend. Do you want to go with me? And they say, no, I'm not really interested. That's cool. Ask them out to do something else another time and see what their response is as well. Maybe instead of the movies, you ask to go, go get pizza after school one day or something like that, right? See if they're open to different things. Come up with different ideas and different activities and see what their response is. If their response is continuously no all the time, then eventually you might just have to say, okay, well, this person just isn't interested in me, so I'm going to let it be. Let's see. Okay. All right, so Seed Saver Hero says, has your family ever not been able to pay the bills when you were younger? I'm not quite sure, although I do know growing up that, we did have to be very conscious of spending a lot of money. It's like we weren't very frivolous with money. It wasn't like, buy anything you want. I remember when I got the Nintendo, right? And then I got Genesis, and it's like everyone I knew had Super Nintendo, and it's like, I was like, oh, why can't we get Super Nintendo? My parents like, we can't afford that, like you have Nintendo, stick with Nintendo. And then years and years later, we got Genesis, and I was like, oh my God, we finally entered, we've made it. By that time, it's PlayStation was already the big thing, and okay, we were behind again. But yeah, there were times definitely where we had to be very conscious of our spending. I know, people, everyone comes from different household incomes and different situations and different experiences. We all have, some of us have big families, some of us have small families, some of us have really nice and normal, whatever family members. Some of us have really rude and mean family members. We're all a big mix of different kinds of people. And, no one can really dictate or assume what kind of life they're going to end up getting. All you can really do is live through the life that you're given. So if you are struggling, try to talk to people and ask, hey, what are ways that I can, save money or make extra money? There are lots of little ways that you can try to make money. One of them is you can try to talk to your parents and see if you guys can sell stuff on eBay. Maybe you have old things lying around the house, old video games, old books, old clothing. Try to sell that on eBay. You might be able to make a little bit extra money like that. So those are little things. You have to get into that mindset, I think. If you feel like, you guys are struggling a little bit, and that's the little that you can try to do, Let's see. Frosted Donut says it's 11 o'clock in England. Oh, cool. So Joan Thomas, thank you. And everyone in England and the UK and over in Europe and over or not in America right now that is on the stream and is hanging out for it. Is my sound okay? Because I have this window open. I don't know if the wind is blowing in, but maybe that's just me overthinking it. It's really sweaty. I'm really sweaty. Okay, Josh, how do I lose weight before the school year? That's a good question. So the school year is starting very soon, so you only have a very limited amount of time to try to lose weight, right? So I think the best thing for you to really do now is try to walk every single day, right? Just go for casual walks, you know, stretch, do basic things like that. You don't have to start a crazy regimen, start crazily exercising and doing all these things. Just start walking and stuff. Do that regularly, because the thing is, you want your body to just get used to being in motion. And as it's getting used to being in motion, it'll start to burn calories and you'll start to lose weight little by little. I wouldn't advocate doing anything crazy to try to drop a lot of weight before school. But if you feel like you've put on a few pounds or you're just a little overweight, walking will be the super differentiator here that you can tackle. So let's see. Lawson Goodwin says, should I ask my crush out? Absolutely, dude. What do you feel is holding you back? Okay. A-Mate says, how do you ask out your crush if you're both in different schools? So yeah, so I did a video on this a while ago where I talk about that. Like if your crush is in another school, you just have to evaluate whether or not it makes sense to pursue them for a relationship or to just maintain a friendship. Right now where you stand, if you guys are in different schools and you won't be able to see each other, perhaps the best thing is to just remain friends until you have the ability to maybe drive to go see each other, or you're old enough to travel around on your own to hang out. So, okay. Gamer King wants to know, how do I become popular? So Gamer King, I did a video on this a while ago. I really recommend it. How to be popular in high school, I think was the name of the video. But ideally what I talk about is this. It's like, we have this concept of popular kids as the ones that everyone likes and everyone wants to be around. And it really comes down to breaking that down. Okay, what does it then mean to be popular? What I take it to mean to be popular really is being someone that people can trust and rely on, right? So if someone wants to talk about something and want to share their feelings, they want to get something off of their mind, you're the go-to person. You're someone they can talk to, they can trust. They know you're not going to spread rumors. They know you're not going to yell at them and get angry at them for whatever they're talking about. They know that they can open up to you. That makes you popular. And the second is, popular people are very vocal about how they feel, right? They're not as shy and as timid, and they're not as afraid to speak their mind. So I think if you want to aim towards being popular, start speaking your mind, telling the truth and speaking your mind there. Let people know how you feel, not in a mean way, but in an honest way. You know, being honest will make people say like, hey, he is a guy that we know is not going to lie to us here. He's just going to tell it like it is. And people like being around those people. So I think if you can inhabit those two qualities, being honest, telling the truth, and then also being the person that people can rely on and trust, I think then you'll propel yourself to popularity. Okay. Oh, no, chat jumped again. Let's see. I see some really good questions. I'm trying to go back to where it was. Sometimes the chat jumps and then I lose my spot. Okay. All right, I'm just going to pick it up from here then. If I missed anyone's questions, like I said, I'm trying to do it in order, but if I missed anyone's questions, either just ask it again, or like I said, you can use the super chat function. You just pop it in there and it'll pop up, and then I'll answer the super chat functions ASAP. I get to those immediately. Okay. Okay, so Woke Punisher wants to know, but how do you approach her? Okay, so Woke Punisher, I have a video. Oops, sorry about that. I have a video called How to Approach Your Crush in 3 Seconds. And I'll explain just kind of the basic idea behind that. When it comes to approaching your crush, right, sometimes it really just requires like a boost of courage to just walk up to them and talk to them. And that's what the 3 second rule really is all about. The 3 second rule really is if you're walking in the hallway or sitting somewhere and you see your crush, you then have no more than 3 seconds to walk up to her and say hi, or walk up to him and say hi. And the whole purpose of that is to put this kind of bearing on yourself to actually go forward and do it. Because here's what happens. If you stand there and you wait more than 3 seconds, what always ends up happening is that you start to rethink, oh, maybe now is not the right time. Or what if I don't know what to say? Or what if she doesn't like me? And you come up with a million reasons why it makes sense not to do it. Well, I want to push you away from that. I want to push you towards the idea of you spot your crush, 3 seconds, go. You know, 1, 2, 3, go. Just say hi, right? And I've talked about this in the past. There are 3 key things you should focus on. So I'm wearing my new t-shirt. It's backwards for you guys, but everything is small steps. This is the new shirt I have for the Josh Speaks. If you're interested, small t-shirt plug right here. But the whole concept of everything being a small step is that if you focus on doing minor things and small things, little by little, you can practice and build towards bigger blocks, right? So the 3 key steps I always mention when it comes to actually approaching your crush, like how do you actually just do it, I think is 1, make eye contact, right? So looking someone in the eyes is an indicator that you're interested in communicating with them, right? So if you're not looking someone in the eyes, you're looking around, then they're going to think, okay, he's not interested or he's too nervous. So looking him in the eyes displays a level of confidence. And I have a video on my channel about eye contact that I did not too long ago. Check that one out. The second one is smiling, right? Like you can look at someone, make eye contact, and it can look really creepy. So smiling really breaks that creepiness and shows them, okay, like, hey, you know, I'm a friendly guy. I'm looking at you. I want to engage with you. And I'm also friendly. Smiles are friendly. Basic thing, right? The third one is saying hello. So if you're just going to stand in the background and stare and smile and not say anything, then it can be like, okay, why is that person staring at me right now? But by simply saying hello, you're at least breaking that silence and you're showing them that, hey, you want to engage with them. You want to talk to them. So that's how I would say you actually go forward and do it. Follow the 3-second rule. Just push yourself. 1, 2, 3, go. And then do those basic things. Get comfortable doing that first. You don't have to do that originally with your crush. You can do that with anyone. Try practicing that with strangers in your class first. Just say, hey, how's it going? To different people. Get comfortable with smiling. Get comfortable with eye contact. Get comfortable with saying hello. Then when you're ready, approach your crush and go for it. So I know that's a question that I'm sure a lot of you guys have, so I hope that answer was helpful. If it was helpful, hit the thumbs up or leave it in the comments on this chat. Let me know. Let me know if certain answers stick out to you or they kind of give you that aha moment, you know? If you want, you can always put the light bulb emoji, letting me know, hey, you had that aha moment, like the light bulb turned on. I know what I'm going to do. So, okay. Let's see. Joan Thomas went to Disneyland. Woo! Good stuff, dude. Let's see. So I'm seeing a lot of what if my crush is in any of my classes, and I might tackle that again as the school year starts to roll on, because I do think that it's like, luck of the draw. You're not sharing any classes with your crush. What can you do about it? So I did that video about what to do if you're not, you don't see your crush around, but I am going to specify if they're in a different class, because there are some techniques there, and I'll say what I think they are. A few of them are. I think a few of them are this. So this is KJ2K's question, by the way. I think one of the techniques is try to see if you guys have any friends in any of their classes, right? So even if you don't share a class with them, your friends may share a class with them, and that might be your bridge to starting a conversation with them, right? Because then your friend can try to become friends with them, and then your friend can then bring them around. So there's a few techniques. I'm going to go deeper in a video form, but that's what I would say. So don't be afraid. Don't worry. If you don't share a class with your crush, it's not the end of the world. Let's see. Crazy Beast says, hey, I'm starting to get my girlfriend. Any advice? Yeah. So I think if you're just starting a relationship with someone, or you're just kind of entering the fray of things, let me make sure the microphone. Okay, it is pulling the right microphone. So if you're just starting to enter the fray of things where it's like, okay, now we're going out. Now what? Okay, what does that even mean? I think the best thing to do in that type of situation really is to just start to get to know your girlfriend or get to know your boyfriend a little bit better, right? Sometimes people agree to go out with each other and they barely know each other. They don't really know each other's hobbies, or what's their favorite movie, what cartoons or what TV shows do they like, what's their favorite band, what do they want to do when they get older? You know, what do they like about school? What do they hate about school? There's a million questions you can ask them. I've put together a guide. I don't know how many of you guys have checked it out, but I think it's really helpful. It's 20 icebreaker conversation starters. If you search icebreakers on my channel, that should pop up. And basically what it is I've listed out 20 questions and follow-ups to those questions that you can use to start any conversation, whether it's a conversation with your crush or a stranger, or you're just trying to get to know someone better. These are 20 solid questions that you can ask that will always give some kind of response or answer. Okay, here's a good one. Umbreon Play says, how to pick up a girl with a guitar. That's a good question. I think I'm going to try to find a music YouTuber who knows how to play and see if they can talk about that, because listen, the only instrument I play is the recorder, and I can play a few songs from Legend of Zelda and Pokemon 2000, the movie, on there. I can play Lugia's theme, and I can play the Kokiri Forest or Lost Woods song. I can play some stuff on the recorder, but not the guitar. I think when it comes to the guitar, it's like I see the guitar like this. A guitar is a tool, right? And it's a tool that you can use to kind of show off, essentially, whether you can sing, you can play guitar, or anything like that. It's a tool that you can use to kind of gain people's attention or gain their awareness. So if you do play guitar, maybe you might want to just start playing it when you're around people. People tend to gather around the guitarist. So that might be a way for you to utilize it to kind of start conversations with people. When it comes to picking up a girl, well, it's just simply a matter of directing your attention while you're playing to her. You know, people love when music is dedicated to them, or music is about them or for them. So if you see a girl that is interested in the in what you're doing, just turn your direction to her and start playing for her. Can you speak any other languages than English? Sadly, fun games, I can't. I only speak English. Let's take a quick water break. Okay. Let's see. So some of these questions are repeat questions, and I kind of tackle them. So I don't want to kind of go over it again and again and again. Just I'm going to put it up in the timestamps when I answer them. Jeb, what is up, Jeb? Good to see you again, man. Let's see. Fate Games asked a good question. Do relationships in different grades actually work? That's a really good question. When it comes to relationships, especially when you're in different grades, I think that it can be difficult. And the reason why it's difficult is because you both kind of are approaching different things in your lives. Sorry, the water made me burp. So let's say you're a 6th grader trying to go out with a 7th grader, or 7th to go out with an 8th, and you're in middle school or in high school at some age. It might be easier for you to date within your school range, and it might be harder for you to date outside of your school range. So if you're a 9th grader trying to go out with an 8th grader, that might be difficult because you really are in two different stages of your life there. You're focusing on different things. And it may be hard for you guys to connect or even just make time for one another. But it is possible to date someone in a different grade. I know other people might make fun of you for it and they might think it's weird, but put that aside. Don't listen to any haters. Approach and ask someone out that you would want to go out with and that you would enjoy talking to. Let's see. All in One asks how to ask a girl out if both of you are shy. That's a good question. So if both of you guys are shy, you're probably waiting for the other person. Each of you are waiting for the other person to make that first move, right? Well, here's how I would say you can overcome your shyness. I think what it is that you know that the other person is waiting for you to make the move, right? The way to overcome that shyness really is to start very, very small. So you don't have to ask someone to go out immediately. You don't have to say, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. Just start small. Everything is small steps, guys. These shirts are available over at thejoshspeaks.spreadshirt.com. So you should be able to check them out if you want to go buy a Josh Speaks t-shirt. Anyway, everything here is small steps. So start with really, really just getting to know the basics about that person. Because learning here's the thing. What helps people break out of shyness really is finding something that they can connect over, right? Because I know I've been plenty shy. I've been shy around plenty of people before. But let's say I find out that they're a wrestling fan. I'm like, oh, cool. Now we have something to talk about, and we talk about wrestling. Or let's say I find out that they make YouTube videos or love watching YouTube videos. Boom, we have something to talk about. You want to try to find what that common interest is that both of you guys share, and that's going to help you, propel forward with them. See, Frosted Donut wants to know, Josh, how do I ask a girl out when I'm overweight and ugly? That's a good question. How do you ask a girl out when you're overweight and ugly? Well, here's what I would say. I think if you feel like you're overweight and ugly, I've done a video on that called How to Ask a Girl Out If You're Ugly. I think what it comes down to is this. A lot of times people overestimate their level of attractiveness or maybe I'm saying that wrong. They don't know how I'm saying this. I'm gonna start that over. What I'm saying is this. A lot of people, I think that they're more uglier than they are or more overweight than they are. And they kind of shoot themselves down thinking, well, I'm not good enough to talk to this person, or I'm not good enough to ask them out. And there's nothing farther from the truth there. Everyone is special just the way they are, right? Like, You're unique. There's something special about you. You have your own personality, your own interests, your own tastes, your own way of viewing the world that no one else in this world can replicate. Are there things that you can work on? Absolutely. We all have things we can work on. Some of us can work on our physical attributes. Some of us can learn how to read better or read faster. Some of us can work on our math skills. Some of us can work on our conversation skills. We all have things we need to work on. And because we all do, that just goes to show that there's no one that's a worse person than anyone else. We're all at just different stages with each other. And, we just have to work along those stages as best as we can. So if you do feel like you're overweight and ugly, I really think it comes down to this. Think about the people in your life that really matter to you and ask yourself, I hit the mic, ask yourself this: does your attractiveness level or your weight affect how they interact with you, right? So think about your friends, think about your family, and they talk to you and joke with you and laugh at you just like you're a normal person, right? They don't look at you any differently. So because they're able to do it, the fact that they're able to do it just goes to show that it's possible for anyone that you like to feel that way too, right? It's like your crush is not the one person in the world who's never going to be able to accept you for who you are. No, anyone is capable of that. So just the same way that your family and your friends are able to accept you for who you are, understand that you have to help your crush see you in that way too. And the best way to get your crush to see you in that way really is to get to know them better and to share more about yourself. The more you learn about someone, the easier it is for you to like them. The easier it is for you to see and say something like, hey, wow, they're a person just like me, or they have interests just like me, or they have hobbies and feelings and friends and all these different things just like me. And that's what you really want. You want that other person to see you as just a normal person. So work on that, focus on that. Let's see. Joan Thomas says, how do you stay organized at school? That's a really good question. I think a good way to stay organized, you have to start your organization from the beginning, right? Which means try to label all your sections in your book. And also here's another tidbit too. Something that I learned. When it came to studying in class, when it came to studying like for specific classes, let's say I had math tests coming up or social studies tests or whatever it is, I would always set aside a specific day to focus on studying that one subject. Sometimes I didn't have the luxury and I had to study a lot of things at once, but for the most part, it's like, okay, Mondays is my math day, Tuesday is my social studies day, Wednesday is my science day. And I would really focus on, okay, let me review my notes. Let me look at that. So the best way to stay organized is to really set aside time, specific time and specific days to do specific things. If you don't, you're going to look at your notebook, you're going to look at all the tasks you have to do, and you're going to say, this is too much. I'm in over my head. So the best way to stay organized is to designate tasks for specific days, and that'll help you kind of work through that. Okay, cool. Okay, so Hydra Saint, Hail Hydra, says, my crush looks at me all the time. She's nice to me. I was going to ask her out today, but my friend did it for me. Oh, okay, we talked about this earlier. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Travis Roseborough Jr. wants to know, what does it mean when a girl tells me hi, but I don't know her name? That's a good question. I think if a girl tells you hi and you don't really know her name, I think the best thing to do is if there's any way for you to talk to her or see her again, you need to ask her what her name is, right? You need to approach her. You need to say, hey, listen, I didn't quite catch your name last time. What is it? My name is Travis. What's your name? You know, you have to be assertive now in looking for her and talking to her. Now, let's say it was a random girl and you're never going to see her again and you didn't know what her name was or get her contact information. It's like, she left my life. Then you just have to kind of let her go, right? Unless she pops up again. And if she does pop up again, that's when you have to make your move. Let's see. Lawson Goodwin wants to know, should I ask my crush out? I go to a small school with only 16 kids. I don't want to make it weird. That's a good question. So here's what I would do, Lawson. Because you go to a small school, there's always a high potential of it being weird, right? Like there's a high potential of it like you ask them out and they say no. And then it's like, okay, well, the other 14 kids in the school are going to find out, right? So instead of asking your crush out to be your girlfriend, simply ask your crush out to hang out with you, right? You might even want to invite other kids in your school too and do something as a group. And while you're hanging out as a group, then try to spend a little bit more alone time with your crush one-on-one. try to do that. That's an organic way of doing it, right? You're not like forcing it. You're not saying go out with me, but you're saying, hey, let's all hang out as a group. And oh, we just happen to be in a smaller group. Let's hang out together. So approach it like that so that you can reduce the risk of her just flat out saying no and you maybe looking silly or something like that. Let's see. Luke MCM wants to know, I'm the quietest and shyest kid in my year. Luke, I totally get where you're coming from on that. I used to be super quiet. Look at me. I can't stop talking now. I have a channel called The Josh Speaks, for God's sakes. But I used to be super quiet in school. And part of my reason for doing it was like, I was kind of nervous about talking. I didn't want to answer questions. I would just try to sit through class and get through it. And I didn't interact with anyone because I thought, well, I'm too lazy. I don't care enough. But the truth is I wanted to, right? Because whenever someone interacted with me, I really engaged in conversation. So I wanted to, but I just allowed my complacency of like, I can sit here. I don't have to talk to anyone. Therefore, I won't. I let that take over. And I don't want that to happen to you too, Luke. So here's what I want you to do. I'm going to give you an action task to go forward with. Luke, what I want you to do is the next class you go to, right? Next day, tomorrow, if you're going to class tomorrow, I want you to, keep yawning. I want you to turn to one of the kids sitting next to you and ask them something very simple. Hey, did you do anything cool over the summer? A simple question like that. They may say no, and you go, oh, that's cool. And then turn away and do what you got to do. But ask in the next class that you can, ask one kid that's sitting next to you that simple question. Hey, what'd you do over the summer? I think that's going to help you start to break out of that shyness, Luke. It really comes down to pushing yourself to do it, right? And I know where you're coming from because I was there too. And I wish someone had told me to just try it. Just say hi to someone. Just do it and see what happens. See what the result is like. So I'm hoping by me saying that, Luke, it can push you forward, man. Okay. KS goals. I'm going to go have dinner, Josh. I'll be back soon. All right, dude. Catch you in a bit. Let's see, I was at work and missed the whole thing. Sorry to hear that, man. You have a lot more energy than in your vids. Maybe so. I don't know. My vids, I think I'm a little bit more calmer. Oh, see, now we're getting to the SummerSlam questions, and I asked that a long time ago, so I know I'm super behind on the chat. I'm way behind on the chat. ZV Vlogs is like, yeah, SummerSlam was awesome. I'm like, oh, dude, I asked it a while ago. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm super behind on the chat, but I am going through questions one by one. If you do have a question that you want to propel ahead of everyone, you really, really need an answer. You 100% need an answer for it. That's what the super chat's for. Hit the super chat. It's a little $sign there right next to the chat line where you can type stuff. And it will, prompt me. It'll say, hey, listen, this guy really needs your answer right now. So that's always an option for you guys. SummerSlams, it was awesome. I love the main event. Brock is winning is awesome. Yeah, I agree. Brock winning was great. I think, he can keep the title there and they can keep building, probably build to Braun Strowman versus Brock, which is kind of awesome. I used to hate Braun Strowman. Now I like him. So let's see. Okay, so Christian Valenzuela wants to know, hey, Josh, how to pick the direct girl so she won't do you wrong? That's a good question because there's no way to guarantee that a person won't do you wrong, right? You have no control over anyone else and their decisions in life and their actions. The best thing that you can do is to get to know someone as best as you can and to let them know what are your deal breakers, right? So if flirting with other people is a deal breaker for you, let that person know that as you start to get to know them. If you want to talk every day on the phone and they don't, let them know that because that could be a deal breaker. It really is a matter of being upfront and honest about everything that's on your mind and what you're thinking, because if you're not upfront and honest, then simply what's going to happen is you're going to end up running into challenges later on down the road, and you're going to realize, hey, why did I even get into this? And the reason is because you didn't spend that time in the beginning really, really getting to know them. Okay, so Molly, when No More Hawaii, wants to know, hi, Josh, what do you do if your crush rejects you? And you said, rejects you and said, don't ever text me. Okay, so if your crush rejected you and said, don't ever text me, then chances are you shouldn't text them, right? It seems pretty self-evident. But I think really the deeper question is, okay, well, why? Why did they say that? What happened there? And I think that's really where you have to stop and analyze. Really try to think for yourself, okay, well, why did my crush turn me down? Did I message them a lot? Did I say hey like a million times in a row? Did I act weird around them? Did I, like try to really look at your own behavior? And it's tough to do because sometimes we say, I didn't do anything wrong. And that's an easy answer, but it's not the honest answer. The honest answer is that if a person's rejecting you, it's possible that it might be something going on in her life as well. That's always a piece of it. But you have no control over that. All you have control over is what you did and to change your own behavior. So try to focus more on that. Focus on what can I do to change the outcome next time. Maybe I won't message them so much. Maybe I'll start a conversation in person rather than online. Think about those things because that'll really help navigate you. Okay. JJ Blue wants to know, what do you think is an okay age difference between you and your crush? Okay. So I always say this. People are always like, what's a good age difference? Is this okay? Is that okay? My philosophy is this. I would focus on trying to date someone that's within your school range. Meaning, if you're in middle school, try to date someone that's in middle school. If you're in high school, try to date someone in high school. If you're in college, go after someone in college. I personally think that it just makes things a whole lot easier if you stick to that. Because when you try to date outside of your school level, you really are focusing on different things in life. High school students are focusing on state tests and getting ready for college and very, very difficult classes, whereas middle school students are focusing on what high schools to go to or different kinds of things. You have different focuses in your life, and it might make things a lot more difficult for you in terms of how you connect with them. Let's see. Okay, A Gamer wants to know, I want a girlfriend, but I feel like there's nobody that would date me. How would I deal with this? So A Gamer, I have a video on this where I talk about what do you do if you feel like you'll be single forever. And it all comes down to feeling like, man, nobody wants to date me. I'm never going to get a girlfriend. All my friends have girlfriends and are in relationships, and I've got no one, right? That's a very common feeling. I know where you're coming from on that because I've been in that place too. I think what it comes down to is this, and I know I say that a lot. I think what it comes down to, but I think what it does actually come down to, I think what it comes down to is you have to be able to expand your pool of who you interact with and talk to, right? So maybe you only like 3 specific girls or something like that in your school, and you're like, I only like these 3 crushes. None of them like me, therefore I'm going to be single forever. Well, try to expand it a little bit. Try to talk to people that you've never spoken to before. Talk to girls in your class that you've never thought about speaking to before. Get to know them better. The more you expand your pool of people that you interact with, the higher the chances are of you finding someone that you actually will connect with and like. So I would say that. Let's see. Luke says, my friends always make fun of me because I like girls. I hear you on that, Luke. Sometimes friends can be pains in the butt simply because they think, okay, you're young. Oh, why do you like a girl? Make fun of you. You should never. Here's the thing. You should never feel ashamed of liking someone. It's a normal human emotion to like someone, especially as you start to get older. You're going to start developing feelings for people, right? Like that's what happens. It's people do that. That's the way it goes sometimes. So if your friends are making fun of you for it, I would just flip it back on them and say, listen, at least I have a crush, guys. You're going to get your crushes soon. Trust me on that. And that's it. Leave it at that. Don't engage with it. Don't try to argue and fight back. Don't fall into name calling because it's not going to go anywhere if you take that route. Okay. Alejandro Valdez wants to know, hey, Josh, how do I start getting my crush into me? But she sees me as a friend. How should I start flirting with her? That's a good question. So sees you as a friend is a very wide thing here because sees you as a friend might mean, hey, you're in the friend zone. Sorry. You're in the friend zone. She wants nothing to do in terms of being in a relationship with you. She doesn't like you. She only wants to turn to you and talk to you like you're a brother. That's one extreme. And then sees you as a friend might be on the other side of, yeah, she's cool with you and you guys interact once in a while. Maybe she's waiting for you to make a move or something like that, So sees you as a friend is a very, very open thing. I wouldn't group those two together, but depending on which side you're on, that's how I think you can do it. You can deal with it. Either way, regardless of what side you're on, you lose nothing from flirting with her. And you're asking so much, how can you start flirting with her? Well, I think it really comes down to changing the way that you interact with her now. If when you see her, it's always like, hey, how's it going? Maybe, toss in a joke and say something like, you're not going to say hello to people like me? Come on, I'll get out of here. You're not cool enough. Joke around, have fun with her, regardless of which side you're on. You're in a deep friend zone or you're, close to breaking out of it. Flirt with her by joking with her, and don't hold back from that. You know, don't feel like when is the right time to joke. Just start doing it. Okay. Johnny Klebitz wants to know, hey, Josh, that girl I was talking about earlier, my friend said she likes me, and I'm going to ask her out when the prom comes. Do you have any advice? That's a good question, Johnny. Prom is pretty far away, right? So I think here's the thing. I think you shouldn't probably wait until prom to ask her out. I think you should try to aim to do it before prom. And here's why. If prom really is as far away as I'm assuming it is, right? It's usually in like May or whatever. You don't want to wait like 8 months or whatever it is to get there to ask her out. Now, granted, you might want to spend the next few months getting close with her, hanging out with her, getting to know her better, but you don't want to wait all the way till then to ask her out. You can start asking her out to do small things with you, such as, hey, what are you doing after school? On Friday, let's get a bunch of people together to hang out. There's a bunch of things that you can do to start that initial process that doesn't rely on waiting. But when it comes to asking them out for prom, what I would honestly say is this. You want to start doing the hanging out part way before prom so that when prom does come, you've hung out with her enough times for her to feel comfortable saying yes and going with you, right? It's not a shock. It's not like, what? You want to hang out with me at prom? What? Out of nowhere. You want to ease into that as time goes on. Okay. Okay, Umbreon Plays wants to know, so I moved and I'm going into the 9th grade and I don't know anyone. Any advice? So Umbreon, here's what I want to say to that. I think being the new kid gives you the ultimate opportunity to redefine yourself however you want to. So I think that's awesome because even if you don't know anyone, you now have the opportunity to talk to anyone. Because look, in that first week of school or so, I yawn too much. In that first week of school, you know, everyone's going to give you the new guy pass, which means that, oh, he's a new kid. He's asking people. He's talking to people. He's, you know, looking for things. It's okay. No one looks at you like, why is this kid talking to me? They simply say, all right, he's new here, you know? So being the new kid and not knowing anyone will really allow you to kind of just approach anyone that you want and say, hey, my name is Umbreon, you know, if that's not your real name, but hey, my name is Umbreon. What's your name? What do you like to do for fun? Do you like sports? What's your favorite movie? You know, really start to learn about other people. Because being the new kid allows you to do that and allows you to do it easily without people looking at like, what does he want, you know? Doesn't matter how ugly you are. Just do it. Just do it. Oh, that Shia LaBeouf thing, live in infamy. Okay. Let's take another water break, guys. Are you guys enjoying this chat so far? Are you finding these answers helpful? Do you feel like they're getting you ready to start school? I hope they are. Okay. And I'll do just a quick little shout out here. So let me open it up. You guys you can screenshot right now. Hold on, let me open it up for you. Okay, cool. Here's my Snap code. I jump on Snapchat and Instagram stories every day. You can screenshot, so you can just scan right from here. I jump on Instagram stories and Snap stories every day, and I post daily quotes and daily goals, and I kind of share some of the cool toys. I show you some of the cool toys on my toy shelf there, and it's just awesome. So if I don't get to answer your question here, I try my best, but I'm trying to answer every Snapchat message and every Instagram message I get. So you can always shoot me a DM there if you want to talk in private on Snapchat or Instagram, wherever you want. I'm at the Josh Speaks on both. So follow me over on there, guys, if you have questions you want to talk to in private. So let's see. Hydra Saint wants to know, thanks, Josh, for the advice. Also, another thing is that her friend says bad things about me and says I'm not good enough. I was confident, but now I just don't want to talk with girls anymore. I hear you on that. So sounds like her friend is really just kind of putting you down and ruining. That wind is strong. Just kind of like being a jerk, right? That sounds like what's going on. Just kind of being a jerk to you. I think ultimately what it comes down to is what you should try doing is so right now, if you don't feel like talking to girls, that's okay. You know, like maybe you just take some time to yourself. Don't approach anyone. Don't feel the need to ask anyone out. Just kind of be right now. Just kind of enjoy things as they are. The second piece to that is if this girl is being a jerk to you, try to understand why she's being a jerk. Maybe she's upset about something that you did or said. Maybe she actually secretly likes you, kind of like Helga liked Hey Arnold, right? There's always a reason behind why people act rude to other people. And the best thing you can try to do is try to really understand why. And that might come down to just asking her and saying, hey, what's up? Is everything okay? Like, I noticed you don't really like me that much, but what's wrong? And who knows? She might open up to you. She might be honest with you. So it's worth a try. Daniel Dennis says, hey, Josh, I'm one of your biggest fans. Thank you, Daniel. I really appreciate that, man. Makes me happy that people enjoy what I'm doing here on YouTube and that it's helpful in some way. So thank you guys for being a part of this stream too. I really appreciate that. Okay, Nintendo wants to know, Josh, why do people think I'm ugly when I'm not? I'm really not. So like I said, beauty, there are cultural and societal beauty standards, but for the most part, we kind of view beauty in a we view beauty in a very subjective way. So if people are telling you that you're ugly and you know you're not, you're just an average looking guy, then that might be their own insecurities coming out, right? They may feel like and the thing is, a lot of it's subconscious too. It's like they need to call you ugly so they can feel not ugly, right? Because in comparison to you, maybe they feel better. So try to understand that they're dealing with something there, right? Like there's something there that's causing them to say these mean things. And don't take it to heart. Kind of understand that they're just in their own world sometimes. Let's see. Josh, what's your Instagram? King of Games wants to know. Yep, my Instagram's the Josh Speaks. All those emojis, man. Okay. Should I ask my crush out, but we go to a small school with 16 kids? Oh, yeah, so I answered that one earlier. Is there anything about a private school that I should know is any different than a normal school? Okay. So I personally have never been to private school, but from what I know about private schools is that some of them are segmented. So some of them are broken down by only boys or only girls. Some of them are co-ed and have boys and girls. Generally with private schools, the work is a little bit more intense depending on the school, but the work is generally a little bit more intense. But at the end of the day, you're going to get probably a more solid education because of that. There may be a dress code in some private schools, but ultimately when it comes to interacting with people, it's the same game, right? It's the same thing of making friends, talking to people, asking out your crush. None of that changes. It's just the kind of the external stuff, like what you have to wear to school, like how long classes are, what you're learning. Those are the things that probably are a little different. But if anyone here is in private school or is going to private school and you have more inside knowledge on it, share it away in the comments. I think it'd be super helpful. Mike, Michigan Outside wants to know, how do you ask a girl to homecoming? So that's a really good question, Michigan. I've done a video on that called How to Ask a Girl Out to Homecoming, which you might want to check out. But ultimately what I think it comes down to is this. Homecoming is a celebration of coming back to school. Everyone is coming home, right? Everyone's starting school again. It's this big hoorah of like, let's move forward for the school year. And that might just be what you want to use as a way to kind of start talking to your crush and asking them out, right? Like, if you ask them to go to homecoming with you, yes, it can be perceived as a date and you want to date them, that's always part of it. But before homecoming actually comes, I think you should start talking to them and even ask them to hang out before that. Here's why I keep repeating that. When it comes to prom or homecoming or any kind of special event that's coming up, the reason why you want to ask out that person before that special event, let's say a week or two before, hey, let's hang out, is if your first time asking them out is for this big event, they may feel overwhelmed. They may feel like, uh-oh, I don't know what to do. This is going to be a big event. And what if people think we're dating? And what do I wear? And how do I act? And there's a lot of things that might pop into their mind. But if they've already hung out with you once beforehand, then the second time they'll say, okay, I know what it's like to spend time with him, so I'm not as nervous. And it makes it a little bit more easier. So that'd be my question. Let's see. Somali wants to know, hi, Josh, what do you do if your crush rejects you 4 times? So if your crush has rejected you 4 times, there's 2 pieces to it. One is ask yourself, what do you keep doing wrong? You may keep making the same mistake over and over, which is like you're not taking the time to build a connection with them. You might just be flat out asking them out. So that might be something you're doing wrong. And the second thing is that you have to kind of take a hint sometimes. If they've said no and they don't want to go out with you, you have to say, well, does it make sense for me to ask them out again? Maybe it's the best thing for me not to do that. So you have to kind of be conscious of that. Okay. Oyson McGovern wants to know how to survive in school when everyone is very mean. That's a good question. A lot of people can be mean in school. You know, I think a lot of times the reason why people are mean is because it allows them to form cliques. And it's like when you're in a clique with a group of people, essentially, you need to be mean to other people to keep them away, to protect your group, right? So like I talked about with bullies before, the reason why bullies kind of bully people is because it's in bullying people that they are able to protect themselves. They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want anyone to come after them. So by them bullying other people, they're preventing other people from coming after them, right? So imagine this. It's like if I have a house and I'm afraid that other people are going to come rob my house, I may go to other people and beat them up in the streets. And it's like, okay, if I beat up everyone, then I know no one's going to rob my house, right? But that's not productive. That's actually all that's going to happen is I'm going to get super paranoid and I'm going to get afraid. And that's what bullies really kind of go into. They go into this like paranoia of like, I need to prove myself. I need to show everyone that I'm tough or else. And the or else really is, or else people will think I'm weak. So they really are struggling with a weakness inside, not a strength. So if everyone around you is mean, recognize that you just need to kind of break through that barrier. Sometimes it's a matter of like, if you see they're saying mean things, it's tough, but you have to try to break through the barrier and just ask them, hey, is everything okay? You seem a little upset, man. What's going on? And sometimes just asking those questions honestly, not to be sarcastic, not to be rude, but just honestly asking them might get them to open up and just be honest with you. Who else hates Jake Paul? Nintendo wants to know. So here's the thing. I was going to do a video not a while back, maybe a week ago on why I don't like Jake Paul. And it's like what I don't like about him, that he kind of just has no regard for other people. He's very kind of self-centered and egotistical in that. It seems like he develops his self-worth on other people's attention of himself, right? Which is what a lot of class clowns do, right? Jake Paul kind of fits the class clown mold of like, I'm going to do things that's going to upset some people, but it's going to make a lot of other people like me, so it's worth doing. But then I realized, man, like I can make a video about how I don't like Jake Paul, but really he's suffering. He's in that state of suffering where his only sense of validation, his only sense of self-worth comes from having to do these things. He doesn't know any better. He really doesn't know any better. So then I started to feel bad for Jake Paul rather than be upset with him. So I kind of scrapped that video. Maybe I'll tackle it again and talk about that, how Jake Paul is the class clown of today's YouTube age or something like that. But yeah, those are really my thoughts on Jake Paul. Let's see. All in one, you want me to answer, how do you ask a girl out if you're shy, if you and her are shy? So I talk about that. I've done a video in the past called how to not be nervous around your crush. So you might want to check that one out too. Let's see. Adrian wants to know, my crush has a boyfriend, but I have told her I like her and we still talk. Any advice? So here's the thing, Adrian. Your crush has to decide whether or not she wants to stay with her boyfriend or she wants to pursue you. Now, you said that you told her that you like her, so I don't know if she likes you back. But if she does, then she needs to say, okay, well, should I stay with my boyfriend or should I go with this new guy? And I think here she has to follow what she knows her own truth to be, what she can be honest about. And being honest here might be something as simple as asking herself, am I happy in my relationship? Do I want to be with this guy? Do we connect well? If the answer is no, then it's no. But if the answer is yes, then you have to accept that and you have to kind of let her go. Let's see. Jason Wera wants to know, how do you get a girl's number without being too obvious you like her? So here's the thing too. A lot of people want to ask a girl out or ask for her number without being obvious. They don't really want to put it out there 100% that they like them because they're always afraid, like, what if she doesn't like me back? And it's weird. I get that. I totally get where you're coming from on that. What I would say to that is this. It's that the whole purpose of asking someone out is to see whether or not you can connect with them, right? Like when you go out on a date or you go out to do something, hanging out together, the whole purpose is to talk to them, to learn about them, to get to know them better. And if you guys don't connect, well, okay, then the date comes to an end and you go on your separate ways. But if the date works out, and it's only going to work out if you guys feel you can develop a connection with each other. So how do you ask a girl out without being too obvious you like her? I don't think you should be afraid as to whether or not it's obvious or not that you like her. I think what you should focus more on is, how can I find out whether this girl connects with me? And the best way to do that really is to ask her questions, to learn about her, find out what her hobbies are, her interests, what she likes to do day to day. Let's see. Wacky for Life wants to know, how do you ask a friend who's a girl for their Snapchat without sounding too desperate? Yeah. So So here's the thing. So asking, this is similar to the other question, but asking a friend who's a girl for their Snapchat without sounding desperate, you know, you may think that if you ask them for their Snapchat, they're going to think, well, why do you want it? Why do you want to see it? You know, and it might make things weird. But here's the thing. I would share your Snapchat with them. I would say, listen, I'm on Snapchat. Let me add you on Snapchat so we can get a snap streak going, right? Turn it into something fun. Don't ask just by saying, oh, can I have your Snapchat? But ask for something specific. Like, I'm curious what your day is like. Let me add you on Snapchat. Or like, oh, let's get a snap streak going. Something like that might ease you into the conversation without you overtly saying, can I have your Snapchat? And then leaving it at that. Let's see. Daniel Dennis wants to know, hey, Josh, what do you do? The girl you like is liking my best friend, but them two don't have a good relationship. So the girl you like is starting to like your best friend. What do you do about that? Well, if they don't have a good relationship with each other, meaning that they don't really like each other that much, but the girl is starting to like your friend, I think you need to talk to your friend probably. That's the best thing to do. Let your friend know where you stand with her. Maybe the best thing he can do is to say, like, try to just shift her over to talk to you more, right? But you have to communicate with your friend. You guys got to be on the same page about that. So Luke wants to know, I'm bullied a lot, Josh. Please answer on how to help myself. So Luke, that's a good question. Bullies kind of feed off of people's scared energy, right? So if a bully is calling you names or a bully is like saying you're stupid and this and that, if you react negatively, if you respond back with, no, you're stupid, or no, you're an idiot, or you show them that, hey, I'm hearing what you're saying and it's affecting me. If they see that it's affecting you, they're going to keep bullying you and keep bullying you. But let's say they say something like, oh, you're an idiot. And you respond with something like, yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why you think that. And then move on. Or like, oh, you're stupid. You know, you're dumb. You say, yeah, that's an opinion. That's an opinion. That's your opinion. Okay. And move on. You know, like, show them that you don't care about what they're saying. And in doing that, what's going to be happening is that they're going to get bored, right? Bullies don't get bored when people respond and you get hurt by what they're saying. They don't get bored. They love that. So in order to prevent that, just show them that, like, okay, you said that. I don't care. It's kind of boring. Then they're going to eventually stop and move on to someone else. So Brian Esquiel wants to know, Josh, how can I be confident in my second year of high school with acne? I have red spots. That's a good question, Brian. Confident in your second year of high school. So I did a video on how I had acne and how to deal with acne. I think it was called something on acne, where I had pimples on my face. And if you look at my videos, I talked about like what life was like for me in high school. I was covered in acne. I had pimples all over. It was a mess. How do you deal with that? What do you do about that? Well, the practical things are you know, you wash your face every night. Try not to do highly stressful things. Get a good night's sleep. Change your pillowcase, because that's a thing too. Change your pillowcase once a week even. You know, and try to just, like I said, always wash your face. Those are the practical things. Now, how do you deal with kind of the confidence stuff when it comes to going to school? Well, here's the thing. Brian, you're not going to be the only kid with acne. Lots of kids are going to have acne because you're entering that age where it's happening, right? Sophomore year, junior year, those are going to be the acne years, man. It's going to happen to you. And the best thing you can do is that you can remember that. Here's something interesting too. I remember when I first got braces and it was in the 6th grade and I thought, man, everyone's going to make fun of me for braces. I'm going to look weird. I'm going to look stupid. But then when I started, I saw other kids had braces too. And then I realized after a while, I just stopped caring. I stopped remembering that they were there. Yeah, there were times where I'd be like, oh God, I have braces. Same thing too with acne. Times where it's like new pimples would flare up and I'd be like, oh, this sucks. But overall, I got used to it because I would interact with people and the focus would never be on the acne. And after a while, people will kind of just move on because they're going to see lots of people with acne. You're not going to be the only one, man. So because they see so many people with acne, they just kind of like accept that that's the way things are right now. Let's see. Fake Game says, I'm starting 9th grade in 2 weeks. I know this girl who is going to 10th grade and I like her. What should I do? How should I talk to her? So that's a good question. If you're starting 9th and she's going into 10th, then it's, you know, it might be easier for you guys to date now that you guys are both in high school. But before you get to the dating part, it really comes down to talking to her. And because you're in different grades, chances are you won't really see her that often. You have to ask yourself, how can you communicate with her? Where are places that you can see her? Is it maybe during lunch or after school? Or maybe you can ask her for her Snapchat or anything like that and just talk to her online. That might be a possibility. I think focus on that first. Think about where you can interact with her and then start from there. Let's see. Earlier, my friend said she likes me. How do I ask her to homecoming? So right now I'm just going through the questions, trying to look for things that aren't exactly the same that I've answered. Hey, Josh, I have a crush in Colombia. Okay, here's a good question. Predator says, Predator WOTB says, and the Predator, the E is an X. Hey, Josh, I have a crush in Colombia, but I'm in America. How can I get her to like me if I've only seen her twice and I've already asked her and she said no? That's a good question. So it sounds like you guys are having a bit of difficulty communicating with each other and seeing each other, I would assume. How do you kind of like make it work? How do you, how do you build something with someone in a whole nother country like that? Especially after you asked them out and they said no. I think you need to ask yourself, what is the realistic possibility of you two actually going out? Do you like her simply because you see her pictures online and you're like, oh my God, she's beautiful, I want to go out with her? Or do you think that there is a way for you guys to communicate and develop a friendship first, especially since you're long distance like that? Develop a friendship first. And as time goes on, when you get older, maybe you guys can interact with each other and go out. Let's see. All in One says, how do you ask a girl out when you're both shy? So I've answered that a few times here. You can check back on the stream later to see. Let's see. Okay, Marcos wants to know, hey, Josh, what happens during prom? So that's a good question, Marcos. I did a video a while back on my prom experience and what I did during prom, but essentially here's what happens. When you start off for prom, everyone has a different starting point. Some people go as a group. Some people go by themselves. Some people go with a date. Everyone has a different way of going. For me, I started in a group and we kind of all took group photos. Oh, everyone's with their prom dates. Prom photos. Yay. That's what happened in the beginning. And then it evolved into, okay, we got to prom. We all drove there by limo or car, or whatever it is. When we got there, you essentially just walk around and you talk to people and you hang out with your friends. It really is just like a dressed up hangout event, right? So a lot of people just kind of walk over to where their friends are, form a little group and just talk to each other. And occasionally you talk to other people that are there. You have to ask yourself too, if there's someone that you like there, that might be a good opportunity for you to ask them to dance or to ask for their phone number, whatever it may be. But for the most part, people just generally dance and then hang out with their friends. It's kind of the secret behind prom. Okay. Umbreon says, hey, Josh, I'm going into 9th grade. I have nobody here and I'm in a kind of ghetto area. Have any advice? So that can be kind of tough. If there's no one in your area and you feel like you don't really connect with the people in your school or around you, I know it may feel like there's no one that you connect with, but there's always, here's the thing. It's like, there's always someone that maybe you just don't know well enough that you can develop a deeper friendship with. And I think it really comes down to exploring and finding who that person may be. Now that really comes down to just talking to more people and interacting with them. An easy way to start is to just start talking to people in your class, right? You could just approach people in your class and talk to them or whatever it may be. That might be a good way to start. But if you feel like there's no one that you connect with, you may want to think about looking for friends online. Maybe join a Facebook group. Maybe start playing games and make friends on Steam or something like that. There may be other alternatives for you to develop a friend group. Okay. So Christian wants to know, hey, should I know how do I know who's the right girl for me at school that won't do me wrong? Okay, we answered that earlier. And being serious in a relationship, don't want to play games. Okay, being serious. Yeah, so like I said before, it really comes down to knowing what you want in a partner and then talking to other people, interacting with them and learning to see if that person, here's the thing too, you're not on a quest to find someone that meets all of your exact needs. That's not what this is about. What it's really about is knowing what you want for yourself, meaning knowing that you want to be treated with respect, knowing that you want to be heard, knowing that you want to be active and do fun things. Like, know what you want in a relationship and talk to other people to see what they want and see where you guys overlap. Let's see. Okay, Sean wants to know, hey, Josh, can you please give me some advice on how to be a good wingman? Fix your hairline. Yeah, no, I'm getting a haircut tomorrow. So when it comes to being a good wingman, I think what it comes down to is you have to remember that your purpose as a wingman really is to help your friend get closer with their crush, right? And the best way to do that really is to talk up your friend when you're with their crush. So while you're talking to the crush, you're going to say, oh, me and my friend were doing this really cool, fun thing. You know, always talk about cool, fun things you and your friend were doing. You know, bring their name into the conversation when you're talking about good, positive things. That's a good way to get them into the fold and everything like that. Let's see. Next question here. Hey, Josh, do you know what does it mean that my crush keeps looking at me in class and smiles when I look back at her? So Bolt Wayne Spark Grinder wants to know. It's a good question. Your crush is looking at you in class. What does it mean? Does she like you? Does she not like you? Here's the thing. I don't think a look is a surefire sign that someone likes you. I think we often misread that because if we see someone looking at us, we always think they like us, they're interested in us, but that's not always the case. They could be looking because they just generally just looked in your direction and stared at you for a second or two longer. They may be looking at you because you said something weird or did something weird. They may be looking at you because they actually do like you. Or they may be looking at you because they're curious, right? So there's no definitive answer as to why they're looking at you. But here's the thing. If you're interested in really finding out why they're looking at you, it's on you then to approach them, talk to them, and then get to know them better. Because they've already kind of subconsciously made the first move by looking at you, getting your attention there. Now that they have your attention, it's on you to move forward and to talk to them. Xbox, iPhones, we're talking about anything, any back-to-school questions, any dating questions. This is an open Q&A geared towards back to school, going back to school, and being ready to do whatever you need to do and what you want to do. But it's an open Q&A. You can ask, guys can ask whatever you want. Let's see. Okay. Xfran Gaming wants to know, Josh, what if you kiss your girlfriend and it tastes good? I hope you read this. So if you kiss your girlfriend and it tastes good, that's awesome, man. You know, a lot of people are too nervous to make that first move and kiss their girlfriend, right? They always think like, oh, when do I go for it? Is it going to be right? Is my breath going to stink? There's a lot of things going on in your mind that might make you fearful of going after it. So the fact that you're able to move forward and kiss your girlfriend, Xfran Gaming, proud of you, man. Go for it. Let's see. New Icon Gaming wants to know, hey, Josh, what do I do if there's a new girl that I think is really cute, but I can't find anything to talk about because we don't have any classes? So this is where my 20 icebreaker conversations starters guide will be super helpful for you, because even if you don't know what to talk to her about, these are 20 general questions that you can ask her. 20 general questions you can ask her to get a conversation going. You know, they range from like, do you believe in aliens? What would you do with $1 million? You know, like, are you a dog person or a cat person? You know, all these different types of questions that are just fun conversations to have with people might be a way to start it off. And because you don't see her a lot, because you don't see her that often, you know, you only have a limited window of time to actually go forward with it. So you want to be very, very tactful of your time. Let's see. Sayarif Hasni wants to know, hey, Josh, I'm going to architecture school here in the UK. But the problem is that I really don't want to be the silent student or want to stand out without being embarrassed or egotistical. That's a really good goal there. I think a lot of times it's like, where's the middle line between being, you know, outspoken and then just being a jerk? And I think the middle line is this. It's that jerks just kind of say whatever's on their mind, whatever pops into their mind without any thought. And that shouldn't be you. You should really speak, but speak honestly and openly rather than just letting whatever comes out. Because when you just let whatever comes out, it may not be your honest opinion. It may just be something you thought in the moment. But speak critically and speak openly. And I think people will start to say, hey, when he does speak, when he does say something, it's very, very sharp. It's very, very thoughtful. He's a very kind guy, very thoughtful guy. And that's the approach you want to take. So all one is asking, how do you ask a girl out if you and her are shy? So I've answered this a few times, which is why I keep kind of passing over that question. But when both of you guys are shy, like I said, everything is small steps. So focus on doing just basic things with the person that you're shy around. And that might just be saying hello to them when you see them. Get comfortable with the idea of just at least saying hello. And that's how you can start working towards your shyness. Because that hello might turn into a, how's your day going? Or might turn into, what are you doing later? You want to hang out? So everything is incremental. Everything is small steps, guys. Let's see. Alejandro says, what should I do when I told a girl? Okay. What should I do when I told a girl I love her and I told her to think about being open? Okay. So you told her you love her. And now it's like, okay, where do we go from this, right? Take a quick water break. Then I'll answer your question, Alejandro. So what about leaking? Is it the condensation? I think it's condensation. Okay. So you told a girl you love her and told her to think about being open. So the thing about telling someone that you love them is that it's kind of tricky because we usually say, oh, we love people when we barely know them. Maybe we're just like physically attracted to them and we feel like, oh, I love them. But really, love has to be used in a very you have to be very careful and safe when you say you love someone. So look, it already happened, but because that might make someone fearful. It might make someone feel like they love me. They barely even know me. How can they say they love me? So you don't want to scare anyone away by saying you love them. Instead, you can say something like, hey, I think you're really cool, or I'm interested in getting to know you better, or I like you, or any of these type of things. So if you want your crush to be open to you saying you love her, I think maybe the best thing to do is you scaled it up. Now try to scale it down. Try to talk to her normally. Show her that, hey, don't be weird. There's nothing to be weird about. We can still talk and interact and get to know each other. There's no rush for anything, right? You want to assure her that you're not rushing anything. Let's see. Let's see. So just scrolling through the chat here. Okay, cool. So Goldenrod City Brad asks, what are some hobbies that you'd recommend to someone looking for something new? So that's a good question. I think if you're looking for new hobbies, it depends on what you like to do. So I know when I was growing up, some of the hobbies that I started to develop was I loved doing paper crafts. I don't know if you guys know what paper crafts are, but essentially it'd be like you'd have a 3D model of something, right? Whether it's like a character or something. I don't think I have one. I don't have one available on me here. You'd have a 3D model of something, and then it's unfolded to be like a flat thing, and then you cut it out and you fold it so you can rebuild that 3D model. So making paper crafts was a fun hobby for me. I love doing that. So relaxing. Like I would sit there, listen to music, and just cut it and fold it. And before you know, I had like a little 3D model like Sonic the Hedgehog or Bugs Bunny or like Superman or anything. And it was really cool. But I would say if you're looking for a hobby, find something creative, right? Because we live in this creative age where it's like with your phone, you can create videos, you can do anything. You know, you might even want to start up a YouTube channel. But creating stuff is very, very good. It's stimulating for the brain. It gets you thinking every day, right? Like I love creating videos here on YouTube. I love creating Snap stories and Instagram stories because it gets me thinking. It gets me every day I wake up and it's like, okay, what am I going to create today? What am I going to make? And it's just a fun thing to do. So I would highly suggest taking on a creative hobby that is something digital, you know? Let's see. Let's find another question I've answered already. Okay. All right, this is a good one. Dimitris Amichos wants to know, is college that nice like it is in the movies? So the movies kind of play up college a little bit. Everyone's college is different. For me, my college experience, it was cool because I kind of was on my own. You know, I had my friends and stuff, but you kind of were on your own for the most part. You wake up when you need to wake up. You don't have your parents waking you up. You go to class whenever you want to go to class. Sometimes you could skip classes. Like all the decisions kind of fall in your hand. But be careful with that because you don't want to abuse that power, because if you do abuse that power, you might get kicked out of school, which is not what you want. But college is really cool. I don't know if it's exactly like it is in the movies, but you do tend to have a little bit more free time, and that free time is open for you to decide when you're going to do your schoolwork, you know, how you organize your studying schedule, how many classes you take. So college is cool in that, right? So Dimitris, are you going into college now? Did you start college already? You know, what's your kind of situation? Let's see. Okay. All right, Cassandra Milano wants to know, this is kind of a weird question, but so I have a crush on this kid I saw once, and it was the weirdest thing. It was like, boom, the second we made eye contact, and he is coming to my school this year. Okay, Cassandra, game plan time. So, all right, this kid's coming to your school. You guys made eye contact. Something's there. There's a spark there, and you want to act on it, right? I think that's a good question. What I would honestly suggest is this, is that when you do see him and you do kind of come in contact with him in school, follow the 3-second rule, right? Give yourself no more than 3 seconds, walk up to him and say hi. Because what might end up happening is this. You might see him and wait and say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for him to talk to me. And he may be thinking, I'm going to wait for her to talk to me. And both of you guys may wait for the other one to talk, and then no one ends up acting on it. So I'm putting it on you, Cassandra. Go forward when you see him, when you start school, and just say hello. Start with something as basic as that. Let's see. How do I fit in at an, oh, chat jumped again. How do I fit in at a new school? I didn't see who asked that, but. Where did it go? Okay, I'm just gonna have to pick a random place and go with it. Apologize if I missed your questions, guys. Oh. Yeah, one thing I'm looking to do is I'm really looking to try to develop a better live stream setup where I do have the chat questions on the screen. But if I do that, then I think I might end up just letting it go and picking them at random. I gotta see, but I need a better setup than this. This is like Google Hangout setup. Okay, Badass 9000 wants to know, hey Josh, big fan here. I have autism. I say it's more like Asperger's, and I'm a support student at my school, but the girl I like is a mainstream student. She doesn't like dating. What do I do? Okay. So I think if that's the case and you are someone with Asperger's, you know, sometimes social interactions or asking someone out can be kind of difficult, right? It can be a little hard maybe to start conversations sometimes, or to kind of pick up on social cues. And, you know, that's the way it is. That's okay. But the girl you like doesn't want to date right now, or maybe she said she doesn't want to date you, or whatever it may be. I think what's important there is to think about how you can approach her without the assumption of dating, without assuming I want to date you, but think more so along the lines of how can we be closer, right? That might be the approach you want to take with that. And a good way to kind of go about that and developing a closeness with her really is to talk to her more, to ask her how her day is going. Just have basic interactive conversations with her, because in those basic interactive conversations, you really are going to show her, hey, you're just a normal dude too, and you like to joke around, you like to have fun, and you know, she should be open to dating you potentially, you know, if she's open to the idea. So just connecting with her, I think is the way to start working towards developing something with her. Ellis Guy wants to know, are you religious? Personally, no, I would say I'm not religious. I've done a video on this called Do I Believe in God, where I talk about my journey and my experience through understanding religion, understanding my life purpose, and all these different things. But ultimately, I would say I'm not religious per se. I don't believe in like a centralized deity. I do think that the way I view God or anything like that is that God would be the existence of all things that exist, right? So the universe is God, the solar system is God, I am God, you are God, everything is connected with each other, nothing's separate. And because of that, it's all one unified thing. And I think once you start to think in those terms of like, wow, everything is connected. I am connected to every other person, every squirrel and every tree and every rock and everything like that. We're all connected. You start to value and appreciate and respect things a lot more. You start to tell yourself, hey, I do want to be respectful towards other people or other animals or other, you know, like woodland creatures, because I see that we are just trying to live together. We are just trying to coexist and move forward without harming each other. So that's my kind of connection to religion. It's not even religion in a sense, because there isn't a standard set of rules. It really is just the golden rule, essentially. That's my take on it. Let's see. So I see you guys are talking to each other, which I think is awesome. I'm happy you guys are jumping in conversation with each other. Jocelyn Rosado. Jocelyn, are you the Jocelyn on Instagram? Let's see. Mash Kid Smith wants to know, Josh, how do you deal with bulls, or I'm assuming bullies? So Shane said before, if you want some points to why God is the most probable reason for us, I can give reasons. Shane, give reasons. I would love to hear it, man. think it'd be a fun conversation to have. But back to the question here, Mass Kid wants to know how to deal with bullies. So like I was saying earlier, I think when it comes to dealing with bullies is that you can't feed into their crap, right? Like they're gonna try to get you to kind of lose your foundation. They're gonna try to rock your boat. They're gonna try to make you respond to them. They're aiming for that response. And if you don't give it to them, then they're going to eventually get bored and move on. Now, here's the thing. That's what bullies saying things to you. If bullies are getting physical with you, right? And they're like shoving you or pushing or hitting you. Best thing I think you can learn to do is learn self-defense. Take self-defense classes, watch videos online, learn how to defend yourself. If someone comes at you with a punch, know how to block, know how to dodge it, know how to catch their arm, know how to punch back. Learn all of these things so you can deal with the physical reality of bullies as well. Let's see. Okay, here's a good question here. Oh, this is a response earlier. I got rid of acne by not scratching and not eating too much chocolate. So yeah, scratching too. When you scratch, you kind of rip the pores. Like you see here, I got a pimple right there, right? Like if you keep scratching, you keep picking at it, it's only going to make it worse. And sometimes it can even leave a mark. So can you say hi to me, please, Alejandro Rosas? Hello, Alejandro Rosas. So let's see. Right now, I'm just skimming through the chat. I'm happy that you guys are talking to each other. I think it's really cool. Let's see. Ellis Guy asks a follow-up question. How do you put your faith in something where there is little scientific or historical evidence? So it's a good question. I look at the idea of faith is that faith should kind of function from the idea of it always growing and always changing. So as you learn more things, you move where your faith lies, right? Like I have the faith in the idea that the sun will rise tomorrow, right? Yes, we can look at scientific reasoning that could back that up, but I have faith that it'll happen. Who knows? Maybe something crazy happens and the sun doesn't rise, but I have faith in the idea that it will. And if it doesn't, well, then I'm going to alter my faith. I'm going to change my faith. It's going to move along with me. So I think you don't have to deal with a structured faith and like, this is what it is and this is the truth. I think truth is ever growing. And I think as you learn more about the world, your truth tends to sharpen itself. Let's see, the Goofy Show says, I'm a freshman for a few days now and I want to talk to more people and a girl in my math class who I talk to online. But I tried watching and reading a lot of things and I just can't do it. So the Goofy Show, I hear where you're coming from, man. I think this comes back down to the 3-second rule. It really comes down to taking the time to get to know other people in your class, right? Turning to someone in your class and just saying, hey, how's it going? Hey, what are you up to? What are you doing later? Like these basic things are easy ways for you to kind of just start conversations with someone. You don't have to go all in and start talking about a million things or become best friends or start going out with someone. Start small and really just get to know someone better by asking them how their day's going sometimes. Let's see. So Tazarina Klug says, what is middle school like? I hope I don't get killed. That's a good question. What is middle school like? Well, what you'll start to see in middle school is that middle school is the age where people start to hit puberty, right? They start to get taller, start to get hairier, the voices start to get deeper, girls start to develop breasts and curves, and people start to wear makeup. People are really starting to transition from more of the childhood into like teenagerhood. You're entering that teenagerhood at some point. So you're going to start to see those changes in the kids around you. You're going to start to experience those changes yourself. And I think ultimately what you could always try to do is, you may enter periods of insecurity or self-doubt. You said there you don't want to get killed. There's always a fear of like, what if the 8th grade kids start picking on you, right? As long as you try to just scope out who are the bad kids, who are not the bad kids, just try to be mindful and scope those things out. I think you'll be okay. Yes, there are times where 6th graders are beat up by 8th graders or 7th graders and they're picked on them. That's going to happen sometimes. You can't shut out all instances of that. But the best thing you can do is learn self-defense and then learn to not engage when someone's just trying to troll you. That's a tough thing, but it's important to know that. All right. So Kiani says, hey, dude, this girl always laughs at my jokes and she wants me to smash. Should I? Well, look, if she's laughing at your jokes, if you guys are having fun together, go for it, man. What do you feel is holding you back? Like, if you just need that approval to do it, go for it, man. If you guys really enjoy each other's company, nothing should hold you back. So Shane is responding to the question on God from earlier by saying, there's a big sum of scientific evidence. Let's see, the radiation afterglow, look it up and read about it. I believe in the Big Bang, but I just don't know who banged it. So yeah, so a lot of people say that, you know, the idea that there potentially has to be something that started it all, right? A creator of some sorts. I think the reason why in the scientific community they don't definitively say, yes, there's a creator is because we can't formulate the connection as to what the creator would be. I think that's why scientists kind of stop it at the Big Bang, because we can formulate that idea of the Big Bang, but we can't formulate how the Big Bang would have came from a creator, how that connection exists there. So I think that might be the crutch. A lot of people try to fill in that gap with the Bible or something like that and say, well, it says right here in the Bible, but it doesn't scientifically fill in the gap. It just kind of fills it in based on someone's personal preference. Okay. Okay, so Alex Martinez wants to know, Josh, what does maybe mean by a girl? Okay, so if a girl is saying maybe, it can mean a few different things. Maybe might mean that she's not ready to give you an answer to the question. Maybe might mean that, you know, she wants to see if you're going to continue to pursue her. Maybe might just be a way of her brushing you off. It depends. I'm assuming you asked her out and she said maybe in this case, right? Something similar to that. If that's the case, then I would say be persistent with it. Talk to her more. Ask her out to do something different. So if you said, hey, do you want to go out to the movies? And she said no, ask her to go out to get pizza. Ask her to go for a walk. Ask her to do different things and see what her responses are. If her responses are always maybe, then I would probably take that as a no, because that maybe still is functioning as a no. So that's probably where she stands. So Nick City says, the Josh Speaks, I love your channel. Thank you, Nick City. I appreciate that, man. Okay, so Panda Man says, people make fun of me because I have a crush on a ginger. So look, gingers get a bad rap. That seems to be like a running joke, right? Like, oh, gingers have no souls and all this crazy stuff that people say. There's nothing wrong with liking a ginger. Like a person who's orange or red hair is no different from anyone else. So people make fun of you. People make fun of anything, right? Like, it's kind of sad that people stoop to any level to make fun of the smallest things. I wouldn't think too much of it. If you like that person, go for them, right? Nothing should hold you back from approaching the person that you like. Nothing. Okay, let's see. Anakin says, hey, Josh, I really want to get a girlfriend since this is my last year of high school. What advice would you give to avoid falling into the friend zone and being successful and getting a girlfriend? That's a good question. So you want to make this last year of high school count, right? You want to show people, hey, like, I want to ask out a girl. I want to be confident. I want to be myself now, right? What it really comes down to is really you have to be confident in who you are, right? A lot of times people want to have girlfriends, but they feel insecure. They don't feel confident in their ability to do something. So you need to develop that confidence in who you are. And the best way to do that is to really ask yourself, what are the things I enjoy doing? What kind of relationship do I want? If I'm in a relationship, what do I want to do with that person? Really outline those things, think them through. And as you interact with people, as you push yourself to talk to people, you can always see, oh, cool, this person's adventurous. I'm adventurous. This person loves to play video games. I like to play video games. We might be a good match. That's the way to kind of approach getting a girlfriend. And if you want to avoid falling into the friend zone, then don't approach girls. Don't approach girls just with the idea of talking to them and just trying to be cool and that's it, right? Like a lot of times, guys, the reason guys fall into the friend zone is because they never flirt with the girl. They never ask them out. They never joke around with them. They just kind of like keep things at a very, very basic level because that basic level is safe. You know that if you just interact with them at a very minimal level, then there's no chance of them hating you. But that's also the level that gets friend zoned. So you don't want to be there either. Okay, let's jump into the next questions here. Okay. James Welsh says, Josh, there's this girl who's coming back from 1 year of being homeschooled. She was bullied, which resulted in her being homeschooled. I don't know how to talk to her. Help? That's a good question. That's a really good question. So this girl was homeschooled because she was bullied before. Now she's returning to school. Hopefully she can be integrated again and feel normal again. How do you talk to her? Well, the one thing that she's really, really looking for is she's hoping for is that she can feel safe in her new environment, right? And this is where you come in. If you want this girl to kind of not be afraid of being bullied by any other people, what you really should do is you should show her that you're happy that she's there. Introduce her to your friends. integrate her into kind of the community that you're in, the people that you know, because that's what she's going to be looking for. She's going to be hoping to see if people are going to welcome her in, and that's where you come in, because you have the ability to do that. So I would welcome her in, show her that, my nose is itchy, show her that that you're open to the idea of her getting to know your friends better. Let's see. Tyler Hoffman says, I have a crush on this girl in my math class and I don't know how to approach her. What should I say? So Tyler, whether she's in math or any other class, it's no different. What it really comes down to is, and because she's in your class, what you can always try doing is talking to her before class or after class. Darn, my nose is really itchy, guys. I don't know what it is. All right. Try talking to her before class or after class, because if you walk into class early and she's there, you can always chit chat with her before class begins. If you guys are leaving class, you can kind of leave together and chit chat with her then. But it sounds to me like all those things are possibilities, but maybe the thing holding you back is the fear of actually talking to her, right? So because you guys share a math class, that might be your in. That might be what you can approach her and talk to her about. You can always ask her like, hey, what'd you think of that last math test? Or, hey, did you understand how that worked? I was thinking about forming a study group. Would you like to be a part of it? Those might be ways to start the conversation to get her integrated, to make her feel like, okay, cool, this guy wants to get to know me. And once you guys get to know each other, then you could start leading into asking her out one-on-one, so where it doesn't have to do with math. Okay. Okay, here was a good question. Andres Seja wants to know, I asked my crush out many times, and already, and we know each other very well. But now, how can I ask them to be my girlfriend? Okay, perfect. So I did a video a while back called "How to Go from Hanging Out to Being in a Relationship." Definitely should check out the video. But ultimately, what I talk about is this. When it comes to going from already knowing someone to being in a relationship, you really want to show them that, like, hey, when we hang out now, it's going to be different from before. And the way that it's going to be different from before is now you're going to be flirty, you're going to be fun with them, you're going to joke around, you're going to talk. Those are all things you want to start to incorporate in how you interact with them. How you may have interacted with them before might have been more casual, more relaxed and stuff. You know, if they didn't hang out, okay, that's fine. Or when you guys were with each other, you didn't walk together, you didn't hold their hand, you didn't put your arm around, you didn't do any of that. You want to start to shift in that direction. Let's see. We got a whole conversation going on here about Jesus and God and the Bible here. So I'll let you guys continue talking amongst there. I'm just interested. I'm just reading some of it. Okay, here's a good one. How to get, Joanna wants to know, how to get over a guy who led you on. That's a good question, Joanna. Some people are jerks. Let's put that out there. Some people will lead you on and they won't tell you how they feel, or they'll make you think that they like you, but then they pull the rug from under you and say, no, I'd rather just be friends. And then the other component is, were you being led on because you weren't aware of what was going on? Did you listen to them? Were you honest with yourself about it? Did you hope for something more that probably wasn't going to happen? You know, there's a million ways it could have gone, but it sounds to me here, the guy led you on, that's that. You know, you feel bad. How do you get over them? Well, one simple way to get over them is to start talking to other guys. The more people you talk to and get to know, the easier it'll be for you to spend less time thinking about him and to start thinking about more people. And the second way is you got to spend time with yourself, right? When you start to like someone, what you're really doing is giving up a piece of your own mental space to think about them, right? Like, oh my God, I like them. What are they doing? You have all these thoughts about them. And what you end up doing is once that disappears, you now have to recalibrate. You have to go back towards thinking about your own life, thinking about yourself. What makes you happy? What do you enjoy doing? Try to get back in that frame of thinking, and it'll be way easier for you to start to move on past them. H. Marks wants to know, how should you try to have your parents be supportive of your relationship? It's a good one, man. Some parents are not supportive, and some parents are, right? It really all depends on the parents, and it depends on the relationship. But how do you get your parents to be supportive of your relationship, right? Maybe you're young and they don't feel it's a real relationship, or maybe it's like, you know, they don't want you to date yet, or they don't like your partner. the best way for them to kind of be supportive of your relationship is for them to learn as much as they can about your partner, right? A lot of times it's like parents will say, well, I don't even know who you're dating. How do I know if that's a good person or not? I don't know if they're a good kid. And it's because they don't really know your partner well enough. So if you can, try to jump on a FaceTime or a Skype call or Google Hangout, whatever, with the person you're with, and like quickly just say, oh, say hi to my parents, and have your parents talk to that person for like a brief 30 seconds, like, oh, how are you doing? How are you doing? This and that. In doing that, your parents will start to come around. Your parents will start to say, okay, cool. They're a pretty cool person. They're not so bad. They're okay. And as you do it more and more, and you have the person you're with be more formal and more kind to your parents will end up starting to be more supportive. Okay, Rudy Hernandez wants to know, Josh, I'm a sophomore and I have a little crush on a freshman I've only talked to once. What do you think is a good topic to talk about, and when is the best time for me to approach her? That's a good question. So something that's good to talk about, and I kind of fall back to my 20 icebreaker conversation starters. It's a free guide that I put together. If you look at my channel and type in icebreakers, it'll pop up. It's a free guide you download. It has 20 questions on it. And in there, those are all great things to talk to them about. But I think a simple thing that you can always jump in with was, hey, you do anything cool over the summer, or what'd you do over the summer? Those are easy ways to start a conversation with someone, because everyone did something over the summer. And it might be a way for you to share what you did and for also learn what they did too. Okay. Here's a good one. Desmond Nuala says, Josh, I tried to schedule a time to hang with this girl, and she left me on open on Snapchat. Ugh. So I did a video a while ago called What to Do If a Girl Ignores Your Text. And I did that with a dating coach friend of mine named Haley Quinn. And she talks about what to do when girls kind of don't respond to your text. And it goes for guys too. What to do when someone doesn't respond to your text or answer you back. Like, how do you kind of re-engage with them? And I think a good way to kind of go into it is, if they're not responding to your snaps and they're just kind of leaving you on open, then I think the best thing to do would probably be to talk to them in person, or try to schedule something in person. Sometimes people need that in-person reminder of someone, like, hey, you're a real person and I can't just ignore you, for them to snap back in and go, okay, let me actually respond to him. It can be easy to ghost someone. People do it all the time because it requires no effort. So you want to show them that, hey, you're a real person and you do want to talk to them. Let's see. Bacon Baller wants to know, how long will you do YouTube? I'm hoping to do YouTube as long as I can. I mean, I want to start. I told you guys my kind of trajectory of what I want to do. Along with doing YouTube, I'm also working on a book. I want to start speaking in schools. I want to start pulling people together. Ultimately, I want to turn to Josh Speaks into something much bigger, where I'm working with you guys who also want to help younger people too, and communicate and talk and stuff. So, and YouTube will probably always be an integral part of that, unless something bigger comes out. But YouTube will always be an integral part of that. I love making videos. I love this interaction. I think we have a good time. We have a good time. Okay. Find the next question. Okay, here's a good one. Alex Kim wants to know, Josh, I asked my crush out 1 year ago over text, but she friend-zoned me. But I still like her. We talk, but I don't know what to do. I think she still thinks of me as a friend. Please help. Okay, so you asked them out over a year ago, and she friend-zoned you in the process. I totally get where you're coming from with that. Who called me here? Oh, give me 1 second here, guys. So second. So I'm selling a bunch of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and someone's like, hey, can I meet you? And I just have to let my mom know to go, and the guy's going to be there. Coming for the... Thank you guys so much for sticking around in the stream, by the way, and waiting for me to answer this message. But 1 second. He's... Okay. Sorry about that. All right, here's a good one. Did I answer the last question? I think I did. Oh no, the friend zone one, a year ago friend zone. Okay, cool, back on this. So if you were friend zone a year ago, I'll repeat the question. Josh, I asked my crush out over a year ago, but she friend zoned me, but I still like her. We talk, but I don't know what to do. I think she still thinks of me as a friend. So here's the thing. If you were friend zoned by a girl over a year ago, right? Or in the process you've been friend zoned, you have to ask yourself, how do you get out of the friend zone with her? And you don't get out of the friend zone by staying friends with her, by continuously talking to her, by continuously interacting with her. That's not how you get out of the friend zone. The way to get out of the friend zone really comes down to taking your time and distance from her. What did this guy say? Anyway, taking the time and distance from her to kind of focus on your own life, to grow as a person. Because if you don't grow as a person, then she's not going to be able to, look at you any differently. She's going to continue to see you in the same light and in the same way because she hasn't gotten to know you any differently, right? If you're always going to be her friend along the way, then what is really changing? It really is only when you guys separate from each other, when you go your own ways, that you're able to kind of move on and focus on, like your own lives. And when you do interact with her later on, she could see you as a different person. So what are you doing in that time that makes you a different person? Well, you're growing your hobbies. You're expanding what you like to do. You're talking to different people. You're not so focused on trying to win her over, and you're just focused on being your best self there. So this guy doesn't want to get off the train. Oh, well. Anyway, very weird. Okay, Music wants to know, how do I tell my parents I have a girlfriend? That's a good question. When it comes to talking to your parents about being in a relationship, it could be an awkward conversation. I've done a video in the past, and I've also done a fan collab with you guys in the past about how to kind of communicate with your parents. Hey, I want to start dating. Hey, I want to have a girlfriend. Some parents have different rules. Some parents just flat out say, no, I don't want you to date yet. You're too young. Some parents feel like, well, you can date, but I need to know the person. Every parent has different rules. And the best thing you can do is be mature about it by actually talking to your parents and seeing what their rules are. And here's the thing. Even if they say they don't want you dating or you're not allowed to date yet, by asking them and talking to them about it, you're showing them that you're actually a lot more mature than they think you are. You're showing them, hey, you're mature enough to even have a conversation about this. Now, if they say you can't date, the last thing you want to do is yell and fight and scream and go, oh, that's not fair. You don't want to do that. Because in doing that, you're only going to reaffirm their idea of, no, you're not ready to date. You want to show them that you are ready to date. And the best way to do that is to be as honest and open as you can be. Let's see. So Coolman wants to know, were you in JROTC when you were in high school? I wasn't, but I had friends who were. I don't really know too much about it, but I do know people who are in it. Let's see. Let's see. Epicplex wants to know, did you ever want to be a therapist or a counselor? So I never thought about being a therapist or a counselor growing up. I've always loved talking to people and interacting with people, but I've always enjoyed marketing and designing and creating and stuff. I think the counselor part of it is that as I've grown as a person, as I've kind of, learned the things that I have, I just realized how important it is to create something or work on something that allows people to talk and to be honest and to share their feelings. Because without that, it's like we kind of sit in our thoughts sometimes. We sit and we worry and we overthink things. And it's like, it's so important to really think about, okay, well, I can talk about my feelings. I can share what I'm feeling. I'm not going through this alone. This YouTuber made a video about it. There are other people in the world who are also thinking about these things. And I feel like I'm trying to create that. And it comes off in a sense like therapy or like counseling. And I'm hoping that's what it is. But I personally would say, if you want therapy, you want counseling, find a real therapist, real counselor who are focused on that. My goal is just to help you start thinking about these things. So, okay. Okay, Mr. Bloom says, hey, Josh, I'm about to go to college for art class and I want a job. How should I go about job hunting? And I go to the gym and there's a class there I want to take there, but it's very expensive. Okay, so You're about to go to college for art class and you want a job. How should you go about job hunting? Want to go to the gym and there's a class there. Okay, so when it comes to job hunting, it's important to put yourself out on different platforms. So putting yourself out on Monster, on Indeed, going to job fairs at your school, that might be a possibility. There are all these different things that you can do to kind of start to think about the career path you want to take. Now, look, your first job may not be the perfect job or the best job for you, but it may be a job that'll help you develop the skills that you need to interact with people and to just get your feet wet and working, right? That's essentially what you need to get your feet wet and working. My first job wasn't the best job. It was somewhat similar to the field of what I wanted to do, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. I'm going to do a video on that at some point too, but it was right out of college and I just was looking online and I was trying to find something that I can apply to. So when it comes to looking for a job and doing the job hunting process, put yourself out there, be open to things that you may not normally think, I want to do that, and try them and see if they work for you. Let's see, Dudong P Toy Toy says, that's a funny name. What if you're shorter than the girl you like? Okay. Do short guys have a chance with girls? I think if you're shorter than the girl that you like, I know, and it's hard for me to say because I've always been tall, so I've never experienced that. But if you're shorter than a girl that you like, you may feel like insecure. You may feel like, oh, she's going to judge me for that. She's going to think I'm weird. Those are all normal feelings to have. But ultimately, I don't think it makes or breaks the situation, because short guys have just as much of a chance of pursuing girls as well. If they're confident, if they're funny, if they're open and they're honest about who they are and they just are putting that out there, a girl can be won over by that. And look, shortness is something that can be overlooked, just like anything else can be overlooked. As you get to know someone better, you can put that to the side and focus on really who they are. So don't count yourself out just because you're short. Okay. So ZV Vlogs is only 7 subs away from 200. Guys, go sub to ZV Vlogs. His videos are really awesome. I check them out from time to time. You got to watch them, guys. ZV Vlogs, 7 people away from 200. Let's get him to 200. Okay. I'm going to answer a few more questions, but I'm pretty much coming up to the rounding of the 2-hour mark here. And then what I'm going to do is in the last like 2 minutes, I'm just going to let the chat go and I'm just going to grab them as they come. Okay. James Welsh wants to know, Josh, I'm a sophomore and there's this girl I like who was bullied 2 years ago for sending nudes. As a result, she was homeschooled for my freshman year and now is coming back. How do I talk to her? Oh, okay. So this is similar to the other question where the girl was bullied. Oh, so we were talking about the bullying thing earlier. So look, so the reason why she was bullied was because she sent nudes and stuff. It's a tough situation there. But like I said before, I think what you really want to do is show her that it's safe around you. You're not going to judge her for it. You're not going to make fun of her. You're not going to tease her for it, because that's a wound that could really make her feel bad. And she may not, she may be scared about experiencing that. What I would ultimately say is this, that, the best thing to do here is, make her feel welcomed. Don't ever bring it up. Don't say, oh, I don't even care about that. Just acknowledge that she probably doesn't want to talk about it and let that be. Okay, I'm going to show you guys here. So if I didn't get to answer your question, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to put it up again. This is my Snapchat, and it shouldn't be blurry. Hopefully it's not blurry. I guess it should work. Take a screenshot right now. Add me over on Snapchat. I'm going to go respond to a bunch of you guys on Snapchat. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump quickly on what I like to do is right after I do this, I like to jump on Instagram Live and do like a post-game show. So this is my Instagram, guys. Go follow me, The Josh Speaks, on Instagram. And if I didn't get to your question there, you can always shoot me a DM on Snapchat or Instagram, and I always try my best to get to those. But overall, I thought this was really good so far. So right now I'm going to just hit the bottom button. I'm going to let the chat go. I'm going to catch questions as they come. I'm going to answer a few more questions. So, all right. Everyone go send Josh questions on Snapchat. iTech support said that. Yeah, go send me questions on Snapchat. I'll talk to you guys there too. But like I said, make sure to follow me over on Instagram so that you can join the post show after this. It's more laid back. I'm sitting down for that one. See, Young Amen says, what should I do if my parents don't like the idea of me dating a girl outside of my race? Ooh, that's a very big question to answer. Okay, so if your parents don't like you dating someone outside your race, it can be very difficult, because sometimes the reason why parents don't want you to date someone outside your race is because there's this fear that your cultures will clash, or you may lose your cultural identity in the mix. That's their biggest fear. And they may think you might run into issues with that. So keep in mind this. If you're young, if you're someone that's young, I think that they should be a little less worried, because when you're young, you're probably going to go through a lot of different relationships. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs. You know, you're not getting married to the person you're going to start talking to or dating right now. So try to assure them by saying that. Say, listen, right now I just want to explore and meet people. I'm not looking to marry anyone. I just want to explore and meet people. And if things get serious, I'll make sure to let you know. Hey, Nobita, what's up, man? Guys, Find Your Love in Japan, Nobita right here. Me and him did a collab together on his channel and on my channel. We talked about language. We talked about language barriers. We talked about dating people of different races. Definitely check out Nobita's channel, Find Your Love in Japan. He's awesome, guys. I love his content. It's very heartfelt, very powerful stuff. But that's what I would say to the question on what's that? To the question on dating outside your race, which can be tough. Our hook, line, sinker says, I'm starting a new high school where I don't know any advice to be popular or just have lots of friends in general. So hook, line, and sinker, I answered that question on popularity earlier. If you want, I'm going to put up the time codes for all the questions I answered. And you should definitely check it out afterwards. But like I said, guys, make sure to go follow me over on Instagram and on Snapchat so that I can we can continue the post-game show here. I'll answer one more question here, something that's brand new. Okay, cool. So Fatal Venom's final question here. Yo, Josh, I have a crush on this girl. I'm 12 years old, and I only text her, but I don't go to her school, and all I can do is text. I'm too young to say, hey, let's go get pizza, so what can I do? Okay, very simple question. You're too young to kind of actually go out and do something to start dating, so how do you kind of develop something with your crush if you're young, too young to do stuff outside? I think in that case, if you're someone that's 12 or 13 or 14, whatever it is, and you're not allowed to date outside of school, you're not allowed to do anything like that, you have two options. One is try to interact with that person in school if you can, meaning if they're in your class or you guys share lunch together. That's one option if you have that ability. If you don't have that ability, you may want to think about developing an online relationship. You guys can be friends, or you guys can talk to each other on Snapchat or Instagram or anywhere online and just keep it there. It doesn't have to be in person. You know, there are plenty of people who want to have online boyfriends or girlfriends, and that's okay. Ask yourself what you really want from that experience. Ask yourself if it's something you'd enjoy, but don't feel down if you can't meet with them in person and you can't ask them to go for pizza. You may just ask them, hey, do you want to play video games together? Do you want to talk on the phone? Do you want to FaceTime? Do you want to send silly pictures on Snapchat? Whatever it is, that might be your avenue there. So I texted everyone, go follow Josh on Snapchat and Instagram if you want your question answered. Welcome, Josh. Thank you, guys. So my Snapchat is The Josh Speaks. My Instagram's The Josh Speaks. I'm over there, guys. You guys can always just follow me. I'll pull it back up one more time. I'm going to jump on Instagram right now to do a quick live stream. Just a quick one to talk to you guys. But I just want to say thank you guys so much for being a part of this live stream. And I hope my answers were helpful in some way. If they are, hit the thumbs up button on this video. Let me know that you like it. And, you know, I'll clue you guys in on something that's happening. So August 27th, which is this Sunday coming up, I'm officially getting married. So the next week is going to be a little bit hazy with videos. I'll see what I can do. I might do live streams, but it's going to be a big day on Sunday. So I'm going to be getting married, guys. How awesome is this? On Friday, I have a video coming out. It's going to be probably a collab that I did with these people, this channel called Life Secret Sauce. That should be fun. But after Sunday, I'm going to figure out what I'm doing for that week. That's going to be my our honeymoon week. So thank you guys for the congratulations. I'm super excited. It's going to be super fun. And I can't wait. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for me to bring my girlfriend, soon to be my wife, over here on the channel. So you guys are finally going to get to meet her at some point. It's going to be awesome. We're moving forward with the Josh Speaks. This is great. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this live stream. This was great. I hope it was helpful. I really want you guys to succeed in going back to school. If you have any deeper questions you want to ask me, like I said, Snapchat, Instagram, let's get on it. Shoot me a message. Join me over on Instagram, the live stream. I'm jumping over right now. All right, guys, I will talk to you soon. As always, guys, love and peace. I'll see you guys next time.